What comes to mind when I say romantic comedy? You might think of a Jennifer Aniston movie, or maybe thinking of a Adam Sandler movie, or maybe you're thinking of a pre-2010 Matthew McConaughey. Maybe it's not even an actor, but a line of dialogue that you think about.
Shut up. You had me at hello.
I hate it when you're not around and the fact that you didn't call. But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
Son of a bitch, Paul, why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Maybe not even a line of dialogue, but a moment that comes to mind.
On a night well, babe, don't you?
Regardless of who or what you think of when it comes to the romantic comedy genre, there is one man who does it far better than anyone else. So today I want to break down and explore the man behind the films like Notting Hill, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and of course Bridget Jones's Diary. Richard Curtis.
And I thought the funny things were someone who's a bit uneasy with the person sitting next door to them because they're taller than they are. Do you know what I mean? Everything I thought was funny was to do with human beings interacting and nothing to do with politics and preconceptions.
Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the works of Richard Curtis, you probably know him best by one film in particular.
This holiday season,
does Natalie live here?
all you need
Hello.
is Love, Actually.
Yep, of course, it's Love Actually. The film was a huge success, as we all know, because it's on TV every year at Christmas, but what sets this film apart was its huge ensemble cast, featuring the likes of Hugh Grant, Colin Firth, Liam Neeson, Hans Gruber, Emma Thompson, Bill Nighy, Billy Bob Thornton, Rick Grimes, Keira Knightley, that kid from Game of Thrones back when it was good, Laura Linney, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Martin Freeman, Claudia Schiffer, Denise Richards, and of course, Rowan Atkinson. Now what makes Rowan Atkinson's addition to the cast so interesting is that this isn't the first time the two of them have actually worked together, nor is it the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time. In fact, if we really want to get to the bottom of this relationship, we have to go all the way back to 1977, back to where it all began. Look, I don't want to bore you with the details. Basically, the two of them met at Oxford when they were both studying. They both answered an ad looking for people to join a comedy review. And if you're like me and you don't know what a comedy review is, here's a video of me Googling that for you. A review is a type of multi-act popular theatrical entertainment thing that combines music, dance, and sketches. The review has its roots in the 19th century popular... Whatever, look, you get the idea. It's a comedy group. I should have just said comedy group. Comedy group. Now, here's a thing from Richard Curtis.
First time I met Rowan, I thought he was a piece of furniture. He didn't say anything at all for 2 hours. And then the first time I saw him perform, it was instantly clear that he was a real genius.
As far as I'm concerned, my daughter could not have chosen a more delightful, charming, witty, responsible, wealthy, let's not deny it, well-placed, good-looking, and fertile young man than Martin as her husband. And I therefore ask the question, why the hell did she marry Gerald instead?
So why am I spending this time talking to you about Rowan Atkinson? Because to talk about Richard Curtis, we really need to talk about Rowan Atkinson and how their early work together shaped the films that Curtis has since gone on to write and direct. So on that note, title card, music. After leaving Oxford, Richard and Rowan began working on a couple of projects together, like the 1979 sketch show Not the 9 O'Clock News.
Just kind of think that you're completely potty.
Putty? Of course I am putty. Who would not be a putty in a country where the Houses of Parliament are erected in the shadow of something called Big Ben, that every hour says dong?
Then in 1983, it was the classic historical sitcom Blackadder, which also actually has one of my favorite lines of comedy in it.
How can it possibly be worth it We've been sitting here since Christmas 1914, during which millions of men have died, and we've advanced no further than an asthmatic ant with some heavy shopping.
After Blackadder came Curtis's first screenplay for the big screen, which was the 1989 film The Tall Guy.
Funny and sexy. People magazine. More appealing than ever. New York Times. The best physical comic actor in the movies. LA Times. Jeff Goldblum is the tall guy.
This film pretty much sucks. It's got some okay lines in it, but the best part is really the few scenes with Rowan Atkinson.
If you ever do anything funny in my show again, you elongated droplet of dung, you're out.
It's not until we get to 1990 that we finally get a project where you can really see the hallmarks of Curtis's films come to fruition. And that project is Mr. Bean. What makes Mr. Bean so brilliant and timelessly funny is the fact that there's little to no dialogue, and the comedy relies purely on a mixture of visuals. This helped the show transcend language barriers and led to its success in other countries like America, the Philippines, and even Japan. You can see this style of physical comedy show up again and again in Curtis's films. Take, for example, this scene from 4 Weddings and a Funeral, where Hugh Grant's character finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time.
This is no fun. I want to see you, my lovely husband.
Or this scene in Notting Hill.
I wouldn't go outside.
Why not?
Just take my word for it.
Curtis even takes this approach to comedy one step further when he sets up this joke.
There's something wrong with the goggles, though.
No, they were, prescription. So I could see all the fishes properly.
Only to pay it off 30 minutes later without a word of dialogue.
Thanks for all your help on the glasses thing.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you find them?
Sort of.
Great.
Okay, so now I want to break down 3 of Curtis's most quintessential films, the 1994 4 Weddings and a Funeral, 1999's Notting Hill, and the 2013 film About Time. So, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, it's Hugh Grant plays a bumbling but yet charming Englishman.
Oh, hello.
Who falls in love with an American played by Andy McDowell, and along with his comically dim-witted best friend, they engage in a series of hilarious shenanigans, and the film ends with the 2 leads publicly confessing their love for one another.
The truth of it is, I've loved you from the first second I met you.
Next up, we have Notting Hill. Hugh Grant plays a bumbling but charming Englishman.
Oh, shit! Bugger!
Who falls in love with an American, this time played by Julia Roberts.
Get your hands off!
And along with his comically dim-witted best friend, they engage in a series of hilarious shenanigans, and the film ends with our 2 leads publicly confessing their love for one another.
I'm also just a girl. Standing in front of a boy. Asking him to love her.
And now About Time. Well, Hugh Grant was getting too old at this point, so in steps Domhnall Gleeson, who plays a bumbling but charming Englishman.
Happy New Year!
Who falls in love with, you guessed it, an American, played by Rachel McAdams, and along with his comically dim-witted best friend, they engage in a series of hilarious shenanigans, and the film ends with our lead actually confessing his love for his dad. What a plot twist. Now, if you think this is me just cherry-picking his movies, we can take a look at his other films that I haven't mentioned, like Love Actually, which has no less than 2 American love interests, or 3 if you include Billy Bob Thornton, but really 2. But then there's also The Americans at the Bar, so maybe 5. There's also Hugh Grant playing an older but yet still bumbling and charming Englishman. And of course, the comically dim-witted best friend.
I am Colin, god of sex. I'm just on the wrong continent, that's all.
If we take a look at Curtis's latest film, Yesterday, you can see this comically dim-witted best friend character is still running strong.
I was born to serve the greatest musician of all time. It is my honor now to open this door for the moment the entire world has been waiting for.
Thanks, Rock.
Right. It goes. No, that's not. Wrong door.
Now, the last thing I'd like to draw attention to is Curtis's use of music. This tune, composed by Craig Armstrong for the Love Actually soundtrack, is an exceptional example. Its cinematic and inspirational feel helps bring a climactic end to the third act of the film. Although the melody is used throughout the film, it isn't until this scene here that it really comes to its climax. Now, I don't actually own the rights to this song, but I can't exactly close out this video in silence. So I went to the YouTube Free Music Library and I searched for something equally cinematic and inspirational. And I found this great tune. So, Richard Curtis. He's made films about weddings, time travelers, and pirates. Sorry, radio pirates. He's worked with critically acclaimed actors like Hugh Grant, and Hugh Grant. From 1994 to 2019, he's made you believe that attractive and young people can and will find other attractive young people. But most importantly of all, his films share one important trait. And do you know what that is?
It's not going to be about love, is it?
Yes, it's love. Love makes the world go round. Love has kept Richard Curtis employed all these years. Who cares that he's been making the same film with the same American love interest for the last 3 decades? And now, I'd like to leave you with some wise words, as Bill Nighy's character keeps saying, love is all around us.